Looking for gay characters in fairy tales can feel like a fruitless endeavor. Oh, God. Nope, trying this again. It's really difficult to find queer fairy tales because the men who were in charge of classifying fairy tales and folktales purposefully eliminated any with gay themes. But while there isn't a lot out there, there are some lovely pieces by gay writers, and some of those tales definitely have echoes of queerness. So let's celebrate Pride Month with one of my favorite fucked up fairy tales by Oscar Wilde, The Happy Prince, a beautiful and tragic love story between a swallow and a statue. This fairy tale ruined my life when I read it at age 8. May it ruin yours, too.
Fucked up fairy tales with Liz.
Ding! Once upon a time, in a city far away, a beautiful statue was erected of the city's former prince. The monument was gilded all over with gold leaf. It had sapphires for its eyes, and a red ruby glowing from the hilt of its sword. He smiled over his city eternally, and for this reason was called the Happy Prince. One night, a swallow flew over the city. The rest of his brood had flown south to Egypt weeks ago, but he had stayed behind because he had become quite taken with a reed. They had a nice flirtation going for a while, but by the time autumn had arrived, he had realized that a bird and a reed don't make a particularly good couple.
Listen, babe, if we're gonna make this thing work, I need you to join me in the warmer climate. What do you say? Oh, so that's how it is. I guess you won't miss me when I'm far away hitching a ride on a camel. Bye, bitch.
He flew for the day and by nighttime had arrived at the city. He decided to rest between the feet of the Happy Prince for the night, because of the sweet view, the prince's luxe appearance, and the fresh air. But just as he was nestling his little head under his wing, a drop of water fell and hit him. And it happened again and again.
What the hell, statue? Can't you shelter a dang bird from the rain?
The swallow saw that the source of the rain was the Happy Prince crying.
I'm so sorry.
His face was so beautiful, brimming with tears and shining in the moonlight, that it took the swallow's breath away.
Who are you, handsome? And why do you weep?
I am the Happy Prince, and I never cried when I was alive. My home was the palace of Sanssouci, where sadness was not even permitted to enter. I dallied in the gardens all day, and I dallied on the dance floor all night. I never worried about what went on beyond the walls of my estate. But now that I am dead, and I've been immortalized in a place where I can see beyond the palace walls, all I do is grieve. For example, right now I can see a small, dismal house. There's a haggard woman inside, a seamstress. I can tell by how gnarly her hands are. She's embroidering passion flowers on the hem of a gown commissioned by one of the women at court. And while the rich assholes I used to party with dance the night away, her son is lying in bed, dying. Swallow, can you bring her the ruby that glows in the hilt of my sword? My feet cannot take me anywhere, or else I would do it myself.
Well, here's the thing. I'm about 6 weeks late to meet my friends in Egypt, so I'm kind of on a schedule.
Can you not delay one more night? The boy is dying, and his mother is grieving.
It's getting pretty cold here, but I guess I can stay one more night and help you.
The swallow plucked the ruby from the sword and flew it across town. He passed by the palace, where a gorgeous lady of court was stargazing with her lover.
Just wait till you see what I am wearing to the ball. I told the seamstress to embroider passion flowers on the hem. Ugh, that lazy peasant better finish it in time.
Wow, what a bitch!
The bird arrived at the seamstress' house, and he dropped the ruby on her sewing table by her thimble, where she'd be sure to find it. Then he flew some circles around the boy's feverish face. The coolness eased the boy's suffering a bit, and he was able to fall asleep.
You know, Prince, it's a pretty cold night, but I feel very warm inside.
That's because you did a good deed.
The next morning, the swallow flew down the river a bit for a bath. A professor of ornithology observed him.
A swallow here in winter? I gotta write 10,000 words on this. Maybe in a few dozen years I'll be able to afford to publish it. Academic journal burn. What?
Okay, Your Highness, I'm off for the south. Any messages you want me to deliver in Egypt?
Oh, Swallow, you can't leave yet. I need your assistance again. I've just seen a young man wasting away in a cold attic. He's got a head full of gorgeous hair, plump lips, and dreamy eyes. He's a playwright, and he's too cold and hungry to finish his play. He's fainted, dead away.
Okay, Oscar. A beautiful young playwright that the boys adore. Who could you be talking about?
Okay, I guess I can stay another night. What ruby should I bring him this time?
Oh, I have no more rubies. You'll have to pluck out my eyeball.
What?
I have sapphires for eyes. Bring him my eye.
Oh, I can't do that.
You must. Just one will bring this sexy writer enough for food and firewood and then some.
So the swallow plucked one of the prince's sapphire eyes. He dropped it into the playwright's garret through a hole in the roof.
I finally have a patron of my art. I will finish this play. Let's see. All women become like their mothers. That is their tragedy. No man does, and that is his. I am a fecking genius!
All right, Your Majesty, I'm off. I will miss you greatly when I'm touring the pyramids.
Oh, little swallow, will you not stay with me one night longer?
Look, I care about you, and I love being here with you. But it's getting really cold. I will miss you so much in Egypt, but it's where I should be. And I can bring you back some jewels to gussy you up again.
In the square below,
Did you even listen to a word I said?
there stands a little match girl. All of her matches fell into the gutter and are unsellable. Her father will beat her if she shows up home with no profit. She has no shoes, no socks, no hat.
Haven't I read this story?
Give her my other sapphire eyeball, little bird.
But you will be blind!
Do it.
So the swallow did as he was asked. The little girl was joyful at the sparkling jewel that was dropped in her hand. What a beautiful piece of glass!
Well, now I can't leave you, my prince.
But Egypt.
Nope. I will stay and be your eyes. And I will never leave your side.
The next day, the swallow regaled the prince with stories from his travels. But the prince was still working through his guilt from all the people suffering in his city.
And right when I perched on the Sphinx's nose, it crumbled right out from under me. Anyway, that's my most embarrassing moment.
Yeah, the Sphinx sounds great, but you know what's an even bigger riddle? Is how the hell there is so much suffering in this goddamn city. Fly around here for a bit, would you, and tell me about those sights.
So the bird flew around and observed the great chasm between the wealthy citizens of the city and its beggars. He saw starving children ignored or chased away, lest the wealthy citizens have to dare look upon them. And he reported back to the prince on what he saw.
Little bird, do you see the gold that covers me from head to toe? Strip it off, leaf by leaf, and distribute it to the citizens in need.
As the prince shed more and more gold leaf, he became gray and shabby looking. But he wasn't worried about that, as long as he was providing. Winter swept in then, and it covered the city in snow and ice. Everything looked beautiful, but it began to take its toll on the swallow. He couldn't bear to leave the prince. So he sniffed around bakeries for breadcrumbs, and he flew often to warm himself. But he grew weaker and weaker, and one day he had just enough strength to fly to the prince's shoulder once more.
Goodbye, my dear prince. Would you let me kiss your hand?
I'm so happy you're finally reuniting with your flock. Enjoy Egypt. Of course you may give me a kiss. I love you. You may kiss my lips.
Oh, my lovely prince. I'm afraid my journey is not south. It is to the house of death. But death is the brother of dreaming, no?
He kissed the prince's stone lips and fell dead at his feet. Upon the bird's death, a deafening crack sounded from within the statue, for the happy prince's heart of lead had broken in two. The next day, the mayor happened to stroll by the statue with his counselors.
Damn, the happy prince looks terrible. So drab, so dull. Where are his gemstones? He doesn't even have any eyes. Oh, for fuck's sake, there's a dead bird at his feet. Make a note, clerk, to issue a proclamation that birds are not allowed to die here. You know, this statue is a fucking eyesore now. Let's just tear it down and melt it for parts.
When the foundry workers were discarding the melted metal of the happy prince, they found that a broken lead heart had remained. They threw it on the dust heap, where they had also thrown the body of the swallow. Meanwhile, up in heaven, God summoned one of his angels.
Angel, bring me the two most precious things of the city.
God, I have brought you this leaden heart and this dead swallow. Boom! You fucking nailed it, bro! Welcome to heaven, you odd couple, you. Little swallow, you will sing in the garden of paradise forevermore, while your friend, the happy prince, praises me in the city of gold. Way to make it all about yourself, God. The end.
Hans Christian Andersen was very likely queer. His journals and letters reveal that he had infatuations and feelings for both men and women. There are also theories based on his journals that he may have been asexual, though that's harder to confirm. Nonetheless, some of his most popular stories feel very metaphorical for his queer identity and the complicated experiences that come along with being queer. The story I'm sharing tonight is a very popular one among very young children, and upon rereading it as an adult, it absolutely echoes the experience of queer youth. And I say that with a heavy heart, because most of the story is pretty tough. The story is The Ugly Duckling. Now, if it's been a while since you've revisited this story, I have a content warning that may surprise you. Our title character attempts to take his own life before the end of the story. He also suffers a lot of cruel abuse, which may be triggering to folks who have experienced bullying for being different. Luckily, it's ultimately a tale of triumph, so I think it's a nice pick for another Pride Month episode of
Fucked Up Fairy Tales with Liz.
Ding! One beautiful summer's day in the country, in a remote corner of a little farm, a mother duck sat on her nest. She was eagerly awaiting the hatching of her ducklings.
And it's not just a motherly love thing. Do you know how fucking bored I've been sitting around all day? These kiddos are sure taking their sweet-ass time popping out. Nobody wants to visit me anymore. I just feel like nature could throw me a fucking bone here.
At last, one egg cracked, and then another and another. A chorus of peep peeps began to ring through the air, and Mother answered each of them with a quack quack. I bet you didn't know you'd be getting a duck language lesson tonight.
Whoa, there is so much more to this world than just gooey eggshell.
You don't even know the half of it. Okay, is everybody out?
No, that giant egg is still whole.
Seriously?
Mother had to sit her butt down for a bit longer. Luckily, she had a visitor, an old duck in the neighborhood.
Well, 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 look at this brood. You still waiting on one?
I am, but look at my gorgeous little family so far. They look just like their father, wherever that bastard is.
Papa was a rolling stone. I'd bet my hat that your remaining egg is a turkey. I helped hatch some turkeys once, and it was the bane of my existence. Those little idiots wouldn't put a toe in the water. I say leave it behind and take the rest of your kids swimming.
I've been at it this long. Oh look, here it comes!
Hi, Mom.
Ugh! You're so big and awkward looking. Well, they can't all be Gerber babies. Let's go for a swim, kids. Stay close, and if you see the cat, get the hell out of here.
Mother was a little put off by this oversized duck with its black beak and dull gray color, but he was an eager swimmer, so that was promising. Mother took her brood out to introduce her children to the other ducks of the neighborhood. And if I may be so frank, the other neighborhood ducks were a bunch of assholes. They jeered at the awkward duckling, and they even fucking bit him.
Look at that little weirdo. Leave him alone! He's just a baby! And he swims just as well as anyone here. So he's a little big. He just took a little long to come out of his shell, that's all. Thanks, Mom. You're going to grow up to be a lovely, strong boy.
Despite his mother's early support, it was going to be a long road for the ugly duckling. The ducks weren't the only ones to judge. Every bird at that fucking barn gave him hell. And soon the rest of the farm's bad attitude began to rub off on the ugly duckling's family.
Maybe I should have abandoned your egg after all. Wow, there's some trauma. Well, I can't stay here another minute. This place is no longer my home.
The ugly duckling abandoned his home, hanging his head for fear that his ugly face might turn off the other birds. He flew as far as he could, before he encountered a large moor inhabited by wild ducks. He was able to rest for the night, but by morning he woke up to find himself being gawked at by the birds.
What the hell kind of duck are you?
The ugly duckling ignored them. He was just so tired.
Well, it doesn't really matter to us if you're ugly or simple, as long as you don't try to marry one of our girls. I have no interest in marrying one of your girls.
Later he was approached by some goslings, of the goose variety, not the Ryan variety.
Honest to God, I never thought I'd meet a duckling uglier than us. You're welcome to join us if you'd like. There's a lot of pretty dames in our gaggle, unmarried too.
I would like the company. Thanks for the invite. Though, again, I'm not particularly interested in marriage.
But before the ugly duckling could even begin to enjoy being part of a community for a single goddamn minute, the moor became a war zone. Shots rang out as a group of hunters laid siege on the wild birds. Smoke filled the air and dogs rushed the group. The ugly duckling ducked in terror as one of the dogs ran right at him. But it veered off last minute, and the duckling made it to the water safely.
I guess the upside of being hideous is even the dogs don't want me.
The duckling hid in the shallows until the dogs and hunters had passed through. Now he was even more rattled. He fled from the moor, but got caught in a storm. Desperate for shelter, he dodged into an open barn. The barn belonged to an old woman who had a hen and a tomcat, both of which she completely coddled.
Well, looky here, what kind of bird is that? These old eyes can't see like they used to. But it looks like a duck. Ooh, I hope it's a mama duck. I'd love to see it hatch some eggs. Don't hold your breath.
The ugly duckling found a peaceful home at the barn for a bit. The hen and the cat tolerated him, but they didn't really get him.
So, do you lay eggs?
No.
Do you purr or get the zooms?
The what?
Okay, this guy's an idiot.
That's not true. I can swim. I love to swim. Ugh.
I can't imagine anything worse.
Really? I love the feeling of the water sliding over my back when I dive in.
Look, if you can't lay eggs, and if you don't like scritches and chasing mice like the tomcat, then you're utterly useless.
Will anyone ever understand me? Is there no other creature like me?
The ugly duckling decided to move on from the barn. He wandered the world as autumn turned the trees to gold. One evening, as winter began to settle in, the ugly duckling noticed a beautiful group of birds flying from the bushes. Long necks, graceful wings, dazzling white feathers. The ugly duckling watched them in rapture.
Wow, I could cry. Those birds are so beautiful. Hey, little buddy, they talk to me. Oh, wait, don't go.
Winter settled in, and the ugly duckling was very lonely and cold. He probably would have frozen to death if a peasant hadn't taken him in. But while the gentleman who picked him up was a good soul, his family was a fucking nightmare. Once the duckling had recovered a bit, the kids wanted to play with him non-stop. They were loud and abrupt and completely terrorized the poor bird. Whenever he was startled, his growing wings would flap in terror. And this would upend everything in the barn. And this would piss the peasant's wife off, and she would clap at him and yell, which only frightened him more. One night he accidentally made such a mess that the woman chased him out of the barn, snapping her tongs at him while the kids ran after screaming. None of us deserve animals, but these people particularly don't. Well, you could write a whole-ass book about the terrible winter the ugly duckling had. But we're already depressed enough, so Andersen spared us that. And as sad as you're feeling right now, it can't compare to how the ugly duckling was feeling. He hunkered down and he made it to spring. But by the time the air was warming and the rest of the birds were coming back, the duckling couldn't face another season of harassment and cruelty. He felt he had no place in the world, and it was too much to bear.
I'll find those beautiful white birds I saw, and I'll ask them to end my life. Some cruel creature's going to be the death of me anyway. I'd rather die at their magnificent hands. Perhaps they're as merciful as they are beautiful.
The ugly duckling swam until he found a group of the swans. The beautiful birds flocked to him right away. The duckling stretched out his neck and bowed to the water.
Just kill me, please.
But when the bird looked down, suddenly his reflection startled him. For the first time, he really took in his grown appearance. And he was astonished to see that he wasn't a duck at all, but he was one of the beautiful swans he loved so dearly.
I'm pretty. I'm a pretty swan, Mama.
The other swans nuzzled his neck in welcome, and they swam around him gleefully. Not only that, but the neighborhood children flocked to the water's edge with bread and cake. They were so excited to see a new swan with the group, and one who was so young and cute. The young swan didn't know what to do with himself. After months of persecution and derision, to be praised and honored and adored was almost too much. But as the sun shone down warm and bright, and as the swans swam circles with him and leaned on him lovingly, his tears became happy ones.
I never imagined it could be, but I am so happy. Baby, you're a firework. Come on, let your colors burst. Make them go up.
The end. If you're interested in more stories that allude to Andersen's queerness, you can look no further than The Little Mermaid and The Shadow. Andersen wrote The Little Mermaid around the time his friend Edward Cullen got engaged. Andersen wrote in a letter to Cullen, "I languish for you as for a pretty Calabrian wench. My sentiments for you are those of a woman. The femininity of my nature and our friendship must remain a mystery." Gay! He also sent Colin an original copy of The Little Mermaid in response to the engagement, which is a pretty baller move. On top of that, The Shadow is also believed to be a revenge story he wrote in response to Colin rejecting him. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you for the next fucked up fairy tale. What if Snow White, but a biamorous thruple? Silvertree and Goldtree is an old Celtic fairy tale that, in the old language, reads more polygamist than polyamorous. But if we give it some bi-wife energy, it becomes a very fun fairy tale. Welcome to another Pride Month very special episode of Fucked Up Fairy Tales with Liz. Ding! Once upon a time lived a family made up of a king, a queen named Silvertree, and their daughter named Goldtree. Once a year, Silvertree would take her daughter to a nearby glen to visit a magical well there. And in this well lived a talking trout.
Hello, my bonny little trout. Tell me, fish, am I not the most beautiful woman in the world?
Ooh, hate to break it to you, but you've finally fallen in the rankings. You're second best.
What? Who took first place?
Your own daughter.
Goldtree?
Frankly, you should have seen it coming. You named her Goldtree, and you are merely Silvertree. The queen retired to her room. She languished in bed, and before long she was certain that only one thing could get her out of her apoplectic state. Hey, honey, the servants told me you weren't feeling so hot. What's going on?
Indeed, I am quite unwell, but I know just what would heal me.
Name it, doll.
Bring me the heart and liver of our daughter Goldtree. Once I consume it, I shall recover.
Let me get back to you on that. The king had recently been in conversation with a young prince who was seeking Goldtree's hand in marriage. The timing couldn't be better. All right, daughter, here's the thing. Your mom wants to kill you and eat your guts.
What?
Yeah, it seems you got a little too pretty for her tastes. Luckily, there's this prince in this overseas kingdom who wants to marry you. So we're just gonna get you hitched now and send you away. I'll figure out the rest later. So you'll put her on trial, imprison her, make sure she never gets near me again? Yeah, something like that. The king sent Goldtree to her new home and had his men eviscerate a goat. He subbed its entrails for his supposed daughters and had them served to his wife. The following year, Silvertree made her annual visit to the magical well, this time by herself.
Hello, my bonny little trout. Tell me, fish, am I not the most beautiful woman in the world?
Hell no, you're still in second place, babe.
What? Who is the usurper this time?
Why are you so shocked? It's still your daughter, Goldtree.
But that is ridiculous. A year ago, I ate the girl's heart and liver. She is rotted flesh by now.
Goldtree is alive. She just married a prince abroad.
Then what the fuck did I eat?
Queen Silvertree returned home and made plans to actually kill her daughter and reclaim her title as the prettiest woman in the world. And at this point in the story, I have to wonder if the king suffered a head injury or something.
Honey, can you have a ship prepared for me to visit our daughter? It's been so long, and I haven't even met the in-laws yet.
Sure, sounds great. Bro, did you completely forget about your wife's attempt to eat your child's entrails? Anyway, Silvertree was so determined to get Goldtree out of the picture that she steered the ship herself.
I'll tell you a tale of the bottomless blue and its hay to the starboard heave-ho. Ooh, wrong fairy tale.
As bad luck would have it, Goldtree's husband was out hunting that day. But Goldtree somehow knew that the approaching ship was her mother. Maybe her father finally came to his fucking senses and sent a warning to her. Seriously, Dad? All right, I need all my servants on deck. Yes, ma'am. My mother is on her way over here. She's going to act all sweet and want a reunion. But believe me when I tell you that that woman is here to kill me. Okay, how about we lock you in a room where she can't get you?
That sounds good to me. I mean, you could also refuse her entry, but I'm willing to try anything.
The servants locked Goldtree in a room, but somehow Silvertree wormed her way to the room itself.
Darling, what is this silliness? Come along and say hello to your dear mother. Sorry, Mom, I'm locked in this room and I can't get out. What are you gonna do? At the very least, could you put your little finger through the keyhole so Mommy may kiss it? Seems strange, but okay.
Goldtree poked her pinky out of the keyhole of the room. It was a bad move. Her mother stuck her finger with a poisoned pin, and Goldtree fell down dead.
You've done it again, poisoned pushpins.
When the prince arrived home and found Goldtree, he was absolutely devastated.
How shall we move forward with the burial arrangements, my lord? Please don't speak of that to me. Goldtree was far too beautiful to bury. We shall have her laid out in a private room, and I will keep it locked.
All right. Would you like a glass coffin or anything?
No, that is the wrong fairy tale.
Cool, so we'll just lay your dead wife out in a room, to which you have the only key.
We are not weirded out by this at all.
Within a year, the prince had remarried, though he was still majorly grieving the death of Goldtree. Most days he kept the key to Goldtree's tomb room on his person. But one day he forgot it, and his new wife got her hands on it.
All right, mystery key. I bet this unlocks that weird room my husband visits all the time. Hope I'm not about to walk into a Bluebeard situation here. Wrong fairy tale.
The prince's second wife took in the perfectly preserved body of Goldtree, and her heart swelled.
This is the most beautiful woman I have ever seen.
The woman gently tried to wake Goldtree. I'm going to assume she didn't kiss her, or worse, without her consent. Perhaps she shook her shoulder gently. But then she noticed something that her husband hadn't.
What is this, a fucking pushpin in her finger? Did they even check under her nails for something like this? Has no one in this kingdom read The Sun, the Moon, and Talia? Ugh, talk about a wrong fairy tale.
The prince's second wife pulled the poison pin from Goldtree's finger, and Goldtree awakened in full health.
Get out of my house, murderer! It's okay. I'm saving you, not killing you. You saved me? Thank you. Wait, what happened? It looks like someone stuck you with a poison pin. Ugh, Mother. Mother? Oh, honey, you have been through it.
Who are you?
Oh, I'm the wife of... Oh. Ooh, this is gonna be awkward. I'm the prince's wife. But I'm the prince's wife. I see that now, and it was just a misunderstanding. He thought you were dead. He didn't see the poison pin like you did? No, he is sweet, but he is kind of an idiot. He is sweet and kind of an idiot. You're so funny. Well, thanks, cutie. Oh, stop. What is happening?
The prince arrived home, and as usual, he was completely downtrodden.
Honey, what could I give you that would make you smile again? Oh, my dear, you have been so good and patient with me. I know that if circumstances were different, I would be a much better husband to you. But I just haven't had it in my heart to smile since Goldtree died. Well, why don't we visit her together? What are you talking about? Honey, I know you've been keeping her in that room. Nothing weird has been happening. I just like to look upon her face. It's okay. Let's visit her together. Surprise! Zombie wife! Oh, no. We did not think this through. Oh my god, Goldtree.
The prince took Goldtree in his arms, and he kissed her. And kissed her. And kissed her.
Whew. I am into this. But I am not interested in being a third wheel. You two are still married, after all, so I'll pack my things and leave you be. No. What's the rush? Don't leave. Please stay. What, are you two looking for a fucking unicorn or something? Not at all. It is not like that. We like you. Yeah. It would be more like, non-monogamy, but like, ethical? Yes, lots of communication, We'd discuss our boundaries, shared responsibilities, but this lucky bastard would have 2 wives. But also you would have 2 partners, and I would. If, you want that. If you're not interested in me, I totally get it. Oh, I am very interested in you. I just do think it's important that our husband be aware of how lucky he is if we commit to this. I am so aware. I truly do not know how this fell into my lap. Good, so you'll remember that we're not just here to make out with each other for the male gaze. Of course. Because when Goldtree and I pleasure each other, it's going to be for us. Yes. But of course, we'll each get some alone time with you too, my prince. And obviously, we'll enjoy time together as the 3 of us. Hubby, are you crying? I'm just so fucking lucky. Oh, hubby, we are too. My sweeties. I just love you. I love us. Oh my god, we have been so wrapped up planning our thruppledom, we have completely forgotten about my mother, the murderer. Oh yeah, we should do something about that. Leave that bitch to me, lovers.
The time of year had arrived that Queen Silvertree made her annual retreat to the Glen and the Enchanted Well to check on her beauty stats.
Tell me, Fish, am I not the most beautiful woman in the world?
Hell no you aren't. Still second best, babe.
Who is the vile hoe?
It's Goldtree. Haven't we been over this?
That's impossible. I murdered her myself with one of my trusty poisoned pushpins.
Not so trusty, it turns out.
It's crazy. You have confessed to murder to me twice now. I have so much on you, but no one's come to consult me. And you're so wrapped up in your crazy vendetta to be the most beautiful that you are still not paying any attention to me, are you? Perhaps a poisoned apple?
Wrong fairy tale. Silvertree once again convinced her own idiot husband to send her back out on a ship to visit Goldtree.
And now I know how far I'll go.
Say it with me, folks. Wrong fairy tale.
Aw, jeez, she's on her way to murder me again. Don't worry, sweetie. I'll protect you this time. Let's go to shore to meet her together. Goldtree, darling, come to Mama. Hi, Mom. Meet my wife. Her name is Platinum Tree. Yeah. Nice to meet you, Brenda. I brought drinks. Rosé all day, am I right? I'm a cool mom. Oh, how lovely. Of course, mother-in-law, you will observe the custom of our country, yes? Where the person who offers the drink enjoys a sip of it first. Sure. I'll just, put my lips to the glass here. So good. Drink up, bitch!
The wife of Goldtree hit the vessel so that the poisoned wine sloshed down Silvertree's throat, and the murderous old queen dropped dead. From that day on, Goldtree, the prince, and their wife lived a peaceful, happy life. And this fairy tale has a hilarious final line, in which the narrator tells us, and I quote, "And I left them there."
Wait. Who the fuck are you?
Oh, just a voyeuristic narrator who's been enjoying this whole love fest y'all got going. Goldtree, you have the cutest little O-face.
Oh my god. Have some wine.
Gotta go. A transgender fairy tale hero? Could it be? There is a category of folktales called a shift in sex, in which a character, often a princess, has a gender transformation before the end of the tale, and always is quite happy about it. So to close out Pride Month, it feels very fitting to share one of these tales. Young Woman, Young Man is a Romanian fairy tale which Lenora Lang and her husband Andrew included in their Violet Fairy book as The Girl Who Pretended to be a Boy. So first off, let's acknowledge that Lang's title isn't very trans-affirming. In fact, most of their translation is pretty heteronormative and sometimes just plain confusing from a gender standpoint. However, when the princess gender is transformed, it is a euphoric experience for the character, which is why some modern scholars consider it a trans fairy tale.
In my telling today, I have tweaked some details to make it a more satisfying modern trans narrative, as well as to simplify a very convoluted plot. And I have done that with help. Thanks to Psyche Z. Reddy, a UConn grad student whose paper, The Transgender Imagination in Folk Narratives, got the ball rolling. And thanks to artist and gender educator Matisse Dupont for their expertise and help in crafting this tale. All that help makes this another great entry in one of my favorite series, Folklore with Friends. Bonk. Once upon a time, there was a real piece of shit emperor who just wanted to absorb every surrounding kingdom he could into his own empire. On top of that, he only promised peace to a newly colonized land if the ruler of that land would deliver him a son to enlist for 10 years' service. One of those kings had managed to stave off this emperor for many years, and he had a very personal reason to do so. He had no sons to guarantee peace, only a daughter. At least, that's what he believed. As the king grew older, his drive for keeping up the fight lessened. He worried about what was to come, and his daughter, Frederica, noticed. Dad, what's eating you? You've been an utter wreck for weeks now. Pressure to give in to this emperor is weighing on me. If I only had a son to enter into his service, I could rest easier. I could do it. You? You're barely of age and a lithe, lovely lady. I don't know, Dad. I'm feeling man enough to handle it. Well, if you chicken out, at least I'll have a good laugh upon your return. We'll see who's laughing last. Now, Freddie was pretty stoked to give this adventure a go. He had to admit to himself that even though he was putting together a masculine alter ego, he had always kinda considered his feminine appearance to be the true disguise. He went to the stable to pick out a steed, and found himself standing in front of his father's very old warhorse.
Hello, good lad.
Who, me?
Oh, did I offend you?
Not really. I'm here to find a steed to go into the Emperor's service with, and as far as he is concerned, I am a man. I just hope I can pull it off.
I think you can. The self is more than skin deep. For example, I look like an elderly, good-for-nothing pet. But if you properly take care of me, I'd be a match for any of the young colts in this stable.
Well, how should I care for you?
I must be rubbed down every morning and every evening with rainwater. My barley must be boiled in milk because of my old chompers. And my feet need to be washed in oil.
You are a fancy gent.
Well, that makes two of us.
Freddie decided to give the horse the pampering it sought, and in a week's time, the animal transformed into the most rejuvenated, powerful horse in the stable.
Wow, I feel incredible. Please, let me know, Freddie, how I can serve you.
I need someone wise in years to advise me. Someone who can help me serve this corrupt emperor, so we can keep peace between our lands.
Look no further than me. With my guidance, you will need no other counselor.
Well, you've stuck by your word so far. Let's make this an official partnership, partner. What Freddie didn't know was that his father had a secret. And this secret would be the first of many challenges he would have to face. Freddie was pretty stoked to leave his princess clothes behind. Besides his masculine attire, he packed some bedding, food, and money, and he set off down the road on his beautiful horse. As the two approached a copper bridge, the horse had some surprising news for Freddie.
Okay, so when you see your dad in his wolf form, he's gonna look pretty scary.
His what form?
You didn't know? Your dad is a sorcerer and a shapeshifter.
Wow, you are correct. I did not know that.
Well, everyone in your household is a little more than they appear. Anyway, your dad is likely to use this talent to test your courage.
Even with this warning, the sight of the wolf sent the hairs up on Freddie's arms. Despite this, he faced the wolf with courage and unsheathed his sword as they approached. His dad wolf ran away and prepared a second test of courage. At the next stream, the princess... that's not right. The prince approached a silver bridge, and there a lion awaited him. Once again, the horse had warned Freddie what to expect, and once again, despite this, the lion was fearsome to behold. But the prince advanced bravely with his sword drawn, and the lion ran away once again. Next, they came to a bridge of gold, and there lurked their most fearsome foe yet. A dragon with 12 heads gnashing its teeth at Freddie.
Oh, fuck me! You got this!
The horse egged him on, and the prince fought hard. For over an hour, the dragon and the boy dodged each other's blows. At last, Freddie sliced off one of the dragon's heads, and the animal dematerialized before him. His father stood in its place.
I am so proud of you.
Your wisdom and bravery are immense!
And might I say, you are positively glowing in that tunic and pants?
Yeah? You know, I'm thinking of making it my permanent look.
It absolutely suits you.
Wow, Thanks, Dad. I'm going to miss you, my child. Keep your courage up, Freddie. And always trust my old horse. He will never steer you wrong.
Now, this was just the first test of smarts and bravery that Freddie would encounter on his way to the Emperor. His next test brought him to two dueling genies. The genie had been fighting each other for years. When they saw the young prince approaching, they invited him into the battle.
Boy, if you take down my foe, I'll give you a great reward.
Freddie took on the challenge and bludgeoned the genie's foe to death. So the genie invited Prince Freddie to his home to honor him. Now, the genie's mother was grateful to Freddie for saving her son, but she also had some suspicions about the gender of the young man. The genie's mother invited Freddie to stay with them. She believed that the prince might actually be a woman, and she wanted such a brave and wise person as a wife for her son.
What are you talking about, Mom? There's no way a woman could have wielded a saber like that.
I don't like your sexism, my boy, and a mother is always right. Tonight I will lay this bouquet of flowers on the soldier's pillow, just like I do for you every night. Now you see how these flowers stay fresh at a woman's touch? Well, they will fade and wither at the touch of a man's. That's why all the flowers in your room are garbage.
So, a lady's flowers will stay fresh and pure, and a man's touch will wilt them? Don't you see where I get my heteronormative ideas, Mother?
Now, Freddie had stayed in close contact with his horse, who had told him what the genie's mother was planning.
Okay, well, I could just switch the flowers with some of the wilted ones from the genie's room after everyone's asleep.
It was a clever idea, but completely unnecessary. When Freddie picked up the flowers to make the switch, they instantly wilted at his touch.
What? Wait, let me try again. I'm a man? I'm a man!
The genie's mother was shocked that the flowers had indicated that Freddie was truly a man. She was convinced that the prince had figured it out and switched the flowers. So she devised another test, and frankly it was a much lamer one. Not at all as magical as gender reveal flowers. Though, side note, gender reveal flowers sounds like another stupid invention for straight people having babies. But at least they wouldn't kill anyone! The genie's mother instructed her son to take Freddie on a tour of the estate, through their incredible garden and on to the armory. She was convinced that the prince would fawn over the flowers, revealing his womanhood, and turn his nose up at the weapons.
I don't like your sexism, my boy.
Oh, shut up. Okay, Freddie, my man. Pick out something you'd like, either from the garden or the armory over there. Why are we wasting time in this den of pollen? I'll take that sick cutlass hanging in the armory window, thanks. All right. Are you two done obsessing over my genitals? Horsey, let's get out of here and show this emperor what we got.
On his way to the emperor, Freddie happened upon a stunning lock of golden hair. He collected it and wore it in a locket around his neck, because his horse told him it would be useful. And then they finally arrived at the emperor's palace. Freddie offered himself to the infantry, and the emperor found the boy utterly charming.
In fact, the emperor's men
Found Freddie charming as well. They were all a little bit in love with him. Freddie became the star of the court. Now, the story goes on in a very long fashion, telling us all the ways he became the emperor's favorite. But let's get to the important part, which is that curly lock of golden hair.
I believe you have a particularly golden lock of hair on your possession. There is no doubt in my mind that it belongs to Elaine the Golden-Haired, aka the most beautiful woman in the world. Elaine is being held captive by another asshole that wants to marry her. But I want her for my own. Well, what does Elaine want? Who cares? Kidnap her from that other guy for me. Because if you don't, you lose your head. If this is how you treat your favorite soldiers, I don't want to see how you treat your least favorite.
Freddie, with the help of his magical horse, outwitted Elaine's captor. He plopped Elaine on the back of the horse and they rode off together.
Cutie Pie, I can't thank you enough for freeing me from that piece of shit. Oh jeez, I am real sorry, my lady, but I've been hired out to kidnap you for the Emperor.
Y'all are really making me the human equivalent of capture the flag? If your emperor is so great, why didn't he rescue me himself?
'Cause he sucks.
Elaine dreaded being imprisoned once again for another shitty guy. But she did find Freddie extremely impressive, handsome, and charming. So once she found herself in the Emperor's clutches, she found ways to stall that wedding.
Well, I am unable to marry a man unless he can bring me my stud of magical mares. My magical mares who obey no one but me. Freddie, be a good bro for me and get those mares, or, get beheaded. Seriously? All right, Horsey, you got any intel on those other magical horses? Of course I do. Freddie managed to bring that brood of mares to Elaine with no problem, thanks to his horse, and Elaine was further smitten. She was no fool. She knew that Freddie was doing all the work for the cowardly Emperor. Emperor, I'm afraid I have one more task that needs to be accomplished before I can even think of wedding. I need you to retrieve the flask of holy water that is guarded in a little church by the River Jordan. Freddie, I'm gonna need you to get— Yeah. Get the holy water or get my head chopped off. But what Freddie did not know was that this quest for the holy water would be the thing to transform his life forever. All right, Horsey. How do we get this flask of holy water? The flask of holy water is guarded by a troop of nuns and a sorcerer. But when the sorcerer is consulting the nuns, only one of them remains to guard the holy water. And that is when we should strike. The day Freddie showed up at that little church by the River Jordan was a real hot one. Plus, the sorcerer had a tendency to ramble on. So after a while, the nun guarding the flask of holy water completely dozed off. Freddie snuck up to the altar and felt around. He seized the flask, slid it in his pocket, and ran back to his horse. Let's get the hell out of here! The magical horse's thundering hooves woke up the nun. She began screaming bloody murder. The sorcerer chased after Freddie, but he knew he could never keep up. So instead, he called out the most powerful curse he could think of. If the thief be a man, make him a woman. But if the thief be a woman, make her a man. Wait, is that really the most powerful curse I know? It's kind of embarrassing for me. Maybe I should study some more. But it's funny. What one sorcerer considers a curse could be the very thing that a prince desperately wants. And when Freddie felt his body transform into a man's, he didn't feel cursed at all. Gender euphoria! Oh my god. You call this a curse, asshole? This is the best fucking day of my life. Well, if Freddie had turned heads before, now he really owned the place, now that nobody could deny his boyish charm. So much so that the Emperor had a surprising announcement for him. Freddie, in the event that Elaine and I don't have any heirs, I would like you to inherit the kingdom. Thank you, sir. And thank you, milady. Elaine didn't want to wait that long, though. Excuse me, magical horse? Yes? I don't really care to be married to a colonizer who threatens his subjects with death if they can't complete impossible tasks. Nor do I care to marry a man who kidnaps me like I'm the Declaration of Independence and he's Nicolas Cage. Not to mention that the Emperor didn't even do that. He just sends in his minions to do his dirty work. Right? I know Freddie did it himself with your magical help. What do you say we hustle along his inheritance? Are you speaking of murder? You bet your sweet bippy I am. Elaine and the horse concocted a plan. Oh, Emperor, my future husband. My brood of magical mares produces a milk that, if bathed in it, will bestow everlasting youth and beauty. Would you like to bathe in it with me? You bet your sweet bippy I would. The Emperor and Elaine settled in for a nice horse milk bath. And while they did, Freddie's horse approached. In one breath, the animal snorted a hot, burning wind at the Emperor, causing the man to shrivel to ash before their eyes. The strange and sudden death of the Emperor could not be explained by anyone who had not seen it with their own eyes. And Elaine and the magic horse were going to keep that dark secret. With the Emperor out of the way, Elaine made her move. Freddie, you saved my life from my captor. You were able to command my magical mares. You retrieved the flask of holy water and faced down a sorcerer. You have done so much to show how courageous and loyal you are, and I want no less of a man for my husband. Will you accept my hand? You bet your sweet bippy I would. And they lived happily ever after. The end. So if you would like to read the original Lang version, it is available online so you can compare. Historian Paul Sturtevant also adapted the tale to be more trans-affirming, and that is available to read online as well. Apologies to Paul if I pronounced his name wrong. I will link both of those, as well as Psyche Z. Reddy's original article that I read, in my sources page. And Psyche is here on TikTok if you'd like to follow her. And thanks once again to Matisse Dupont, who you can find here on TikTok as Mix Matisse Dupont. Their content is a delightful combination of gender theory, some killer makeup looks, drag content, and some beautiful art. And you can hire them for your own gender consultation wherever you are in your gender education or journey. So I'll see you for the next fucked up fairy tale.
Fucked up fairy tales with Liz. Fucked up fairy tales with Liz.